Alright, it's over. It has come and gone. World's End is... I tried filming this thing now 4 times. And I keep coming to a point where I keep screwing up. And I'm going like, why am I screwing up? Why? What am I missing here? And then it hits me as I'm talking right now. Guys, you look at last year, in 2024 when Sting retired. That was the best time AEW had. Legitimately. Let's make it very clear. One of the best pay-per-views we've seen from AEW is when Sting retired. It wasn't a perfect pay-per-view. It was not. And I'm saying it right now, someone who watched it and reviewed it. It was not the perfect pay-per-view. It wasn't. But it was a pay-per-view that meant something. It was a pay-per-view that, even though it didn't have everything there, you cared. Now we go fast forward to the next year at the end. At World's End. Just before the next Revolution in March of next year. And you wonder, did we get anything better from the beginning of this year going into next year for next Revolution? And honestly, if you look at what we got here, no. And yes, we got MJF as a champ, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But if you really objectively look at what we have here, I'm telling you right now, none of what they produced either seemed to be in the right place. In other words, it didn't need to be on the show. Or it made any sense. Legitimately. A lot of this, some of it either looks like it shouldn't have been on the show, or it didn't make any sense. Now, let me make it clear. I did not watch the kickoff show. I didn't watch 0 Hour. So I don't know what happened. I do know that Ricochet is going to give, who was it? I can't remember who he's going to give that national championship match to. I can't remember right now. I'm blanking. But Ricochet is going to give someone a match. And I know someone's going to leave it below. But I'm blanking right now. I'll probably remember later. But honestly, the opening, Okada versus Kateska, as the semifinal before the final match of the night for the Continental Classic. I'm going to make it very clear, I'm going to talk about all 3 matches. I'm going to do them all one after another. I'm not going in order. And now I'm going to give you my feelings about the Continental Classic itself. Legitimately. Well, let me give you this when it came to Okada. Was it a hard-hitting Japanese strong style match? Yes, it was. It was a very strong, hard-hitting Japanese strong style match. There is no way around it. There's no way to hide it. That's all it was. And I know you're going to say, dude, what about Okada and Kateska's feud? Well, we haven't seen it start yet. Only thing we've gotten for months, well, barely any month, more than like a month and a half to 2 months, has been a tease. The rest of the time, really, we haven't seen anything substantial. Only in the last month to maybe a month and a half has it been somewhat substantial, but we still don't have the feud yet. Okada didn't leave the Don Callis family, or Kateska hadn't left the Don Callis family. And what did we get during the match? We got a very good, hard-hitting, strong-style match. Until Okada decided he didn't want to lose Kateska. He knew that Kyle Fletcher had left a little present wrapped up inside one of the covers where the hook for turnbuckles are. Peeled that sucker off. He used the end here. He didn't use this part. He used this part. Whacked him in the head with it. And he won that match. He did not win clean. Because he knew he couldn't beat him. So that is what you get with that. Does it promote and continue their build to their feud? Yes, it does. But the big question is going to be now, when are they going to start it? Because it hasn't started yet. They're teasing it to be started, not that it has started. And if anybody says, oh, it's already started, that's not true. It isn't true. Because Don Callis is still keeping them in check to a certain point. And still, we have not seen an open war between Kateska and Okada. Can it come this Dynamite before New Year's Eve? Yeah, it can. And there would be nothing wrong with it. But until we actually see it, it still hasn't started yet. It is still in the teasing phases of it. We're waiting for it to actually start. And either Kateska leave the Don Callis family or Okada leaves the Don Callis family, because there's no way, unless they're going to have open war and a civil war inside the Don Callis family, where one side's going to be with Kateska, one side's going to be with Okada. My feeling, that's not going to happen. Let's move on. The next semifinal match, Kyle Fletcher, who I just talked about, and Jon Moxley. This is where we did get a good match as well. And when Kyle Fletcher was looking for his little tool that he was going to try and take out a little bit of Jon Moxley, that did not happen. Jon managed to choke him out and make him go to sleep. He passed out. Now, this is where it begins to get interesting, because this is where the first signs of Jon Moxley being cheered. And I'm going like, really? You're cheering Jon Moxley? He didn't turn face. He's still exactly the same way has he been for months. The same way. There is no face turn. But people wanted to cheer him because of how well the match went between him and Kyle Fletcher. I'm about to say Kyle O'Reilly. Kyle Fletcher. I'm not going to deny the match wasn't bad. It was a good match, just like the Okada and Kateska match. It was. But hearing the crowd cheer him in Chicago is making me go like, really? What has changed in Jon Moxley? Nothing. And the bigger question is, will people at home would believe that he's now turned face? Honestly, no. So let's now move on to the final match for the Continental Championship. Okada versus Moxley. The first time they ever met, at least in AEW. Don't know if they met in New Japan Pro Wrestling. I don't know. But this is the first time they're doing it in AEW. It wasn't a bad match. It was not a bad match. And I'm going to tell you that truthfully. It was a good match. The story of Moxley's left knee was the focus because it's been worked on by Kyle O'Reilly. Roderick Strong also did it. Kyle O'Reilly basically made him tap out twice to it. And Roderick Strong, he didn't get a chance to tap him out, but at least he did work it as well. And it had been worked periodically throughout the entire tournament itself. That was the focus. And when you see the interaction between the two, it was good strategy between the two. Not going to say it was perfect, but it was good strategy. In the end, we get Moxley winning the tournament and then giving a very heartfelt speech afterward with the Death Riders in the ring. Now, I'm sure many people will say, well, look what just happened. The Death Riders have now turned face. When did they turn face? They haven't turned face. They're still exactly the same. The talk with Moxley has been the same talk with Moxley for months. Only thing he wanted was to make this about pro wrestling. That we go every day, every night, every week, every month, every year. We bust our asses in the ring to give real pro wrestling. Nothing has changed. Did the crowd cheer for him? Yes. They cheered for him. There was going to be a defined face and there was going to be a defined heel. And people hate Okada, but it looks like they hate Moxley less. So they let Moxley have the face chants, the face cheers. That's what they wanted. But here's the thing. And it was a heartfelt talk he had, where it was decently effective. He was cottonmouth. He could barely talk. His throat was so dried out. It kind of wish he had gotten some water, but he didn't get it. But here's the problem with this entire tournament. It's garbage. I'm going to say this right now. It's not about the match qualities that was happening during the tournament. I want to make this clear. Other than Darby Allin having to be removed because he had to go to the hospital because of whatever issue he had, possibly concussion. This is not about the match quality was in the tournament itself. It's the tournament that was the problem. Why? The tournament was for the what? I'll give you a minute to think about it. I'm giving you a minute. Wait a minute. My watch stop. What the fuck? The Continental Championship doesn't exist anymore. It should have been for what? The unified title. The AEW unified title. They did not want to strip, literally, Okada of a title. So what did they do? They split them back up again just so Okada could have a weaker title. When they should have just let the Continental Championship and the International Championship go away, focus on the unified title, keep the Continental Tournament, but it's for the unified title. And they refused to do it. And now, what do we have? We have Moxley with the Continental title. We have Okada with the International title. You know how many titles that is? 5. The AEW World title, the TNT title, the Continental title, the International title, and the National title. And guess what? We now know that Ricochet is going to defend his title. I don't remember who he's going to give that shot to. I don't remember. I legitimately don't remember when they mentioned it because I didn't watch the 0 hour. Why would I need to? It should be a focus. But that's 5 fucking titles we have. Anybody remember what happened when it came to ROH showing their titles on AEW? People got sick of it because there was so many titles floating around. You couldn't keep track of them all. You had the AEW tag. You had the world title. You had the TNT title. Then what did you have? The ROH title, the Pure title, the television title. There was another title. I can't remember. I think there was another title. But that was, and the 6-man tag title and the trios title. How many titles is that was floating around in AEW? And now, again, you have 5 titles, which now, due to the fact that you broke the International and Continental apart, the National title is now weaker because of it. Because you just newly minted a new champion in Ricochet. And you had the nerve, because Okada or Tony himself doesn't want Okada to be with no title, instead of maintaining either letting him win the entire tournament when he shouldn't have been in the first place, let him keep the title. That's Okada, let him keep the unified title. You now decide to split it off so now he could still have something. Moxley has something. And that means Ricochet is the odd man out because now he's got a brand new title. That's now the World, TNT, Continental, because of now the spotlight's going to be on Moxley. Okada's got his title, and we don't know how long it'll be before the feud between him and Kateska goes. And who's last? Who's the one at the bottom? Who's here? That's Ricochet. After working so hard with the Demand to try and make them mean something. Now he wins the title. And now he has 4 other titles above him. It's stupid. Moving on. The next match is the street fight between FTR and the Bang Bang Gang. Let's make this very clear. And I almost forgot about Moxley chipping his tooth. He did chip his tooth during the match with Kyle Fletcher, and it didn't look good when he was talking when he won the damn title. Hopefully he's going to get a crown on that, but let's move on. The street fight. I'm going to tell you this. I didn't give 2 flips. I didn't. I didn't care. And I should. I should care about the tag team tournament. Well, not tag team tournament. There should have been a tag team tournament. Or something. To make FTR mean something. I felt nothing. The Bang Bang Gang with Juice Robinson and Austin Gunn. I believe it's Austin, not his brother. But the problem here is this. They're the only ones that are being spotlighted. And I'm like, what happened to AEW when tag team wrestling was the focus and that is what people really wanted? People still want tag team wrestling. And this is all we got. I felt nothing from this match. If it had been a straight match, maybe it would have been at least a little more better than this. Not saying the match itself as a street fight was bad, but I don't care. FTR won. Do you care? Do you care? Did they, and more important, did they make you care about FTR? Did they make you care about the Bang Bang Gang? No. You know one of the reasons why they didn't make you care? Guess what? They're not heavily spotlighted on Dynamite. I don't even know how well they're spotlighted on Collision. But Dynamite? Almost nothing for them. We're still waiting for Christian and Adam to come back so they can start their feud. And they're still in a damn holding pattern until then. So it's... Moving on. Babes of Wrath versus Athena and Mercedes Moné. I'm like, why couldn't we have this? And I want to make this very clear. I know Harley Cameron is not a great wrestler. She's an okay wrestler. You got 3 women in that ring that knew how to wrestle their asses off. That's Athena, that is Mercedes, as well as Willow. When it comes to Harley, I'm not telling you that she's total trash. She's okay. But you can tell when the match became a little sloppy, or very sloppy, when Cameron got into the ring. Now, to her credit, she did do some good moves during the match. She did. I find that one of the things that she focused very much on in her style is making sure at least some of the fundamentals are done, like her side Russian leg sweep. Some of the holds that she did were pretty good, but that's generally it. Being in the business maybe 2 to 3 years, she needs more work. And it's not because her boobs are so big she can't do the moves in the ring. It's that she still needs work in the ring. I want to make that very clear to anyone who hears me. Is she a curvy girl? Yes, she got a great set of tits. Whether they're fake or real, don't matter. Is she good looking? Yes. She's got a lot of talent, other than her tits and good looks. She can sing. She can do ventriloquism. I believe I said it right this time. And she can play a guitar. That's some good things to have in pro wrestling. But there's got to be more. Yes, you can be a character, but eventually you got to get in the ring. And she needs more work. But I will commend her that she has improved better than she did last year. She has. But in the end, Babes of Wrath won. But what does this really mean? Right now, we're going to have Willow Nightingale dealing with Mercedes Moné. I'm going to give you this. If we're going to start doing this, well, Willow's going to have a shot at getting the TBS championship, I can understand why. They have history. She broke her ankle badly when she faced Willow in New Japan Pro Wrestling. She did. So, there is a story there. But you know what would have been the best story that you could ever seen? Mercedes Moné versus guess who? Saraya. And that never happened. Either Saraya didn't want to do it, or Mercedes didn't want to do it, or they both did want to do it, but Tony didn't give them the opportunity. Something happened where there was nothing done, and we just get something. And the thing is that we don't have tag teams for the women. Yes, you got the Sisters of Sin. That's it. Penelope Forbes is out. She can't wrestle with Megan Bayne. And since, and I've stated this myself, Camille is not on the show, I would have loved to see Camille team up with Megan Bayne and be something, Amazonian Queens or something, whatever you can call them. Those 2 women are the biggest women in the company. And instead of showing Camille, because as far as I know, she's not hurt. She's at home. Yeah, she's done Gladiators, but she should be on the roster. And she's not. And I want to see what Megan Bayne. And she's not. They could be a real tag team. And they're not. So the tag division feels empty. Moving on. This is the match that I'm like, what the blue fuck? Are you serious? Did you gotta go there? AEW, Tony, I don't care if this is Gabe Kidd's decision. I don't care if this is Darby Allin's decision. Or it was Tony Khan who was happily willing to do it. This was the most stupidest match you could have had. Gabe Kidd versus Darby Allin. And I want to say this again. Whether the recording of Darby falling down the steps was done before the match with Kevin Knight or after the match with Kevin Knight, it would have been wise for them not to show the entire thing in its entirety of him falling down the steps, because legitimately, since he had to go to the hospital, it doesn't look good to AEW, particularly that we just got this match, and Gabe Kidd was throwing Darby Allin every freaking way you can think of. Instead of them telling Darby, scale it back, because we don't want to look bad, because it's like we don't care about if you live or not. No. He goes all out as usual, and then both of them bleed. Which makes it worse. They both bleed. How many matches have we seen in the last couple of months where they've been bleeding? And bleeding in buckets. And Moxley bleeding. And Darby Allin bleeding. It's become so numbing. Understand, when you see blood, it means something special. But now AEW's made the blood so common, it's no longer special. It doesn't feel important. It feels empty. So, we get a match between two good wrestlers bleeding their asses off. And when it's all over, it doesn't feel important. It doesn't feel important. And since Darby is still after the Death Riders because he wants revenge, because Gabe Kidd is... This is where it gets confusing. Gabe Kidd comes out not to the Death Rider theme song, but to his own, where he's supposed to be a part of the Death Riders, and he's not. But why'd you make him come out with his own music? I don't know. Next, the Mixed Nuts Mayhem match. We got Dark Order with Marina Shafir, and we got the Conglomeration with Tony Storm. I'll tell you this, when it comes to this tornado tag, that's what it is. You can see who can really wrestle. You can also see who can't wrestle very well, and someone who's in between. You look at Tony Storm has a lot of character, a lot of leg, and a lot of ass, and she was able to work with the men pretty well. Marina Shafir, she didn't do bad. When she was in a group, she worked well. But when she was one-on-one with a woman, namely Tony Storm, she looked like she was lacking. Now, when she has to slam a man, or kick a man, or throw them around, like someone the size of maybe a Orange Cassidy, that's not so bad. She's able to do it. Now, when you see the interaction between her and Roderick Strong, that was okay. He want that death meat. He want the death taco. That's the best way I could say it. But let's give it to you in this respect. If they're going to do something between Roderick Strong and Marina Shafir, they need to do it on Dynamite, not on Collision, not on ROH. It has to be shown on Dynamite so we can understand the context of that he's smitten with that ass. He wants it. He wants to bang it. They need to show it more. But the question is, will they? In the end, what did we get? We got Mark Briscoe pinning Wheeler Yuta. And it's not the reverse, like Wheeler Yuta pins Mark Briscoe, because he's going to need a challenger. And I wouldn't mind seeing somebody go up against Mark. But this is just me. You guys tell me below. Next. Let me give it to you like this. Before the match happened, before the Fatal 4-Way, the end of the show happened. Because... Oh, I almost forgot the Women's Championship. That shows you how I didn't care. I almost forgot about Jamie Hayter and Chris Statlander's match. And that's sad. You know why I forgot? And luckily I remembered. Because it upsets me. That it's sad that I think of Chris Statlander and worse, Jamie Hayter, who was brought back on a 0-hour show. If I remember correctly, she was brought back on a 0-hour show. And then she was nailed by Tekla. And in the end, she looked like a bitch to Tekla. And yes, the Blood and Guts match was good, but it doesn't change the fact that Jamie has not done anything on the main roster. Nothing. Just done nothing. And then you think of Chris Statlander, who had to go through multiple changes of going from a face to a heel. And they tried to change her back to a face again, and it wasn't really getting anywhere. So you know what they did? They rebooted her back to the way she was when she first came in the company. The only difference between who she is now and when she first started with Orange Cassidy and Best Friends was, guess what? Sign language. That's the only difference between Chris Statlander years ago and Chris Statlander now. And I'm taking a guess that sooner or later she's going to start doing sign language again, which I'm not against it. I'm not against someone who's deaf. But that is what she was known for. She was a face who did sign language and loved the stars. She thought she was an alien. And now she's doing the alien bit without saying she's alien. She's talking about the stars. But the only thing she's not doing is doing sign language. So they basically rebooted her back to the way she was years ago. And she feels empty. She's no better than Jamie Hayter. So all of this craziness they did all these years. And you would think that when she won the damn championship, they would do something special with her. They just rebooted her back to her original character without sign language. And her saying that she's not all the time an alien. I mean, she says she's alien, but she doesn't say it all the time. And I'm like, what a waste. In the end, Jamie won, but no, not Jamie, I'm sorry. Chris won. Jamie did not win. But what does this give us going into 2026? I don't know. Moving on to the final match. The Fatal 4-Way. MJF, Samoa Joe, Hangman Page, and Swerve Strickland. Let's put this in perspective. What looked the best there? Swerve and Hangman Page being in sync with each other when they weren't trying to break each other's necks. Also, MJF looking good. Joe is Joe. He's always decently good in the ring to good, to great. Whenever he's in the mood. Or whenever he's not sick or whenever he gets hurt. Joe is always very good in the ring. But those three are the ones that we looked at. Simple as that. MJF, to me, I felt was the only one that could win here. Because I have this feeling that Swerve and Hangman Page are not slated to go after that title at each other. Yes, they look great when they were going at each other. They look great when they were working together. And that's what I was thinking. That at this point, the way they were looking, someone had to have the flash in their head like that and go, oh, look how they're in sync. They're in sync. Let's put them in a tag team. That is what I think is about to happen. By the time of Revolution, I think you're going to see Swerve and Hangman Page working together to try and get the tag titles. So each of them will have a title, even if they don't want to be tag teams together. They're going to be tag team together because they know both of them want gold. And they're going to go after gold, and they're going to go after the titles from FTR if, counting on when Adam and Christian comes back, if they're still not back yet, they're going to put Swerve and Hangman Page at each other. Counting if Adam and Christian are not back yet, which we don't know when they're coming back yet. I don't know and I haven't checked. So that's the way it looked. Joe, I'm going to be honest here. I loved Samoa Joe. I really do. But Joe is an afterthought here. You know why? Again, what did Joe do to get in this position? get pissed off because he was handed a title wrong. That was the problem with this entire storyline. It wasn't the fact that Joe felt unfairly treated. It wasn't the fact that Joe had turned heel and then wanted the damn title. He only turned heel because of convenience, because they needed someone to go after Hangman Page when he won it against Moxley. That's it. And it looked awkward and it didn't work. I didn't buy Joe as a heel. And then they made him lose. And now, you made him lose again, but in a fatal 4-way. And if I remember correctly, Joe ate the pin, if I'm remembering correctly. Joe ate it by MJF. So you made Joe job once already, the Hangman Page, to get the damn title back. No, sorry, my mistake. Oh yeah, to get the title back. Then, you have him job again to MJF. And what does that make Joe? A 2-time loser. He doesn't look important anymore. So, in this situation, when you see MJF and you see my thumbnail, and I say, he is champ, but is it right? That's not my title. I'm just saying that he is now on top. But I'm thinking this. What are we really getting with MJF being champion? I don't know. I don't see Hangman Page going after MJF too quickly. And I don't see Swerve going after MJF too quickly. I have this strange feeling that they are going to go at each other, or they're going to go after the tag title division. And yes, you can have Joe go after MJF again. But do you actually believe MJF is going to lose to Samoa Joe? After now Joe is not jobbed once, but twice. He jobbed once to Hangman Page, and now MJF. I'm like, I don't know what's going into 2026. It doesn't feel stable. I'm being honest here. Is the show better? No. Look what happened. I believe I got the shot of it. It may be in my face. I have to check. If I don't have the shot, I'm going to have to see if I can find a replay of it and grab the image and put it here. MJF is using the Dynamite Diamond Ring. It should have been in my face. If not, it's here. MJF has the Dynamite Diamond Ring. If anybody says that this doesn't matter, you're stupid. I don't care who you are. You are flat out stupid. I don't care if you're someone who likes me or not. If you think there's nothing wrong with MJF having the damn Dynamite Diamond Ring, when we just had a tournament, no, not a tournament, a casino battle royal, there you go, and then a match after that, where Bandito won the damn ring, but MJF was using it. And if you remember correctly, only the person who won the Casino Battle Royal is allowed to use the Dynamite Diamond Ring. And MJF just came down to the ring with it on his pinky. What the blue fuck? Honestly. It doesn't look good. And look what happened with Darby Allin and Gabe Kidd. Darby just came back from recovering from going to the hospital. We don't even know what it was. We don't know if it was a concussion or if he got hurt or something. But he just came back. It was bad enough. They released the video of him with Gabe Kidd where he falls down the steps. Which is going to make people think that's probably why he got messed up. Or worse yet, they're going to think AEW really doesn't care about the wrestlers. There's got to be a point when you got to tell him to pull back. Especially if he got hurt. And if I'm right, this was recorded before he went to the hospital after that match with him and Kevin Knight. And what did we get when he finally came back? Not only getting thrown all over the place, but getting cut open. With Gabe Kidd, blood that we've been seeing for months, not once in a year or twice in a year, for months now. We've been getting blood from Moxley. We got blood from Darby Allin. We got blood from everyone else. Mark Briscoe. We've been seeing bleeding constantly. And what do we get? Nothing from it. It feels empty. Constantly bleeding is empty. That's what happened with ECW. Remember that? ECW was a promotion that was niche. And they kept doing that same stuff over and over again. And it didn't grow their fan base. And no matter what Paul Heyman said, that was one of the contributing factors for it to go under. It was. You guys tell me below. And I'll see if I can get some videos done. I admit I have been a little not myself lately. Stuff in my head. My depression's kind of kicked in. I don't like saying it much, but when it does kick in, it's kind of hard to produce stuff. So I'm very sorry. I did promise I would produce some videos. I'm going to try and produce some in the next couple of days before New Year's Day. I hope you liked them. Peace.